Hello, how's it going? It's Michael here, project manager, Hume Construction, talking about the Cunningham project out on Harris Road in LeRoy, New York. This project has been coming along. We actually just put in our water service from connecting it to the house up until the road. The water authority then has to come in and install the meter pit and the valve stop. But we have completed everything we need to on our end. Electrical trench should be going in tomorrow, so it's all trenched out right now, and then we just got to run some electric line as well as a spectrum cable. And then I'm also planning on installing that Bilco door step that will allow another egress option into the basement. So that is the next steps here at Cunningham, while also figuring out and fine-tuning finishes like siding, flooring, tile, you know, because we're actually getting to that point in the project now, because on the interior of the home I have the plumbing roughed in, the HVAC roughed in, the wall insulation has just gone in, not the ceiling yet, but that's the step that we're on right now, is putting insulation within the home, and then we can proceed with drywall, and then we can start installing our finishes. So that's why we are thinking about finishes now rather than later, so we can start planning ahead and then be on track once drywall is complete. So I have the floor plan here. This is the floor plan we've been following throughout the whole construction process, and I'm actually gonna draw out a little detail, some details of changes we've had to make and everything like that. But first, what I do want to show is my favorite point in the project, and I'm sure that we can highlight it in a future video, is the tray ceiling detail. So now, the way these tray ceilings are, it is above the great room, or above the living room, and above the kitchen area. So you can see that outlined here. There's the kitchen area here, and then the great room here. So now what this is going to do is it is like a tray ceiling in the trusses. So you can see the trusses come down on the bottom cord. I'll kind of draw it out right here, and then it comes up and then comes over, down again, and then there. So that was how the truss came. You know, we can imagine how the truss looks like, right? Something like this. Just forgive my drawing. And then also how we're going to finish out that detail, which we have one of them framed. We just need to frame the second one, is that it's going to look something like that. And then we will put LED lights that are going to shine up in there. So it's going to create a really unique moment, and I think that's going to be so cool to have in the project. Separating the kitchen and the dining and living space is going to be a nice faux beam. It's not necessarily structural in any way, that's why it's a faux beam, it's fake, but it's going to be a nice divide between the two different types of spaces, kitchen and just honestly gathering and enjoyment. So now moving into some things that we've had to change in the project. At the time of laying down the floor joists, they are open web wood joists. They give approximately 2 to 4 inches of play between the spacing so that you can account for plumbing, which we did that at the time. And then at one point, these walls were not as symmetrical as we'd hoped. That's just kind of how it happened laying out the plans. So we ended up moving this group of wall over 1 inch, which actually landed us on top of a floor joist for the tub. But you know, whenever there's a problem, we create a solution. So all we had to do was just switch this right-handed tub to a left-handed tub, and that gave us the clearance to bring up all of our plumbing, our water feed, just all the plumbing necessary for the shower. So now the left-handed controls are going to be on this side, and then we have enough room here. You could also see that we have pocket doors right here and right here. And again, the way that it just laid out in construction, it kind of impeded where we needed to have our plumbing for the shower and, you know, shower head, shower controls. So what we had to do was take this wall right here and move it and kill space in this linen closet, which is not bad because it is only a linen closet. It's not a coat closet or anything, so you don't necessarily need 2 feet in there. I think we're left with like 20 inches, 21 inches finish when you hang all the drywall. So it was nice that we had that space right behind this tub wall that we can give to give back to the bathroom so we can have the right amount of room when we were outlining our plumbing. So that was just one thing that we had to overcome, which is no problem at all. We overcame it, and everybody is all on board with all of those changes. Another change that we made, and this was mainly due because of cabinetry, it's very expensive. So originally planned, it was supposed to be a walk-in pantry right here. So it would be literally just like a cabinet, and then you open up the cabinet doors and you would be able to walk through the pantry into there. So now we cut it, we separated the coffee bar from the range countertops, and then actually we're just gonna have a nice different door here. So it's gonna be a triple paned frost glass door that's going to be the entrance into that pantry area. It's gonna look so nice because it creates that separation between that little coffee nook we're creating right there, as well as the range area. And then also when you think of how a cabinet opens up, if you opened up that cabinet and you were walking in between the pantry and the kitchen, those cabinet doors would be technically in your path of egress, you know, throughout behind this island that's right here, and if you're cooking or anything. So that actually eliminates that distraction out here and puts the door back here, and it just adds more useful space to your home, which is a great detail that we have overcome. Another area here is you can see that there's a pocket door right here that has the pocket going right into where this custom tile shower is. And we brought the tile installer on site, and he said, hey, listen, I can't really do what we need to do here because of this pocket door. How can we fix this? So what we decided to do was remove this pocket door right here, because this is, again, just only like a linen closet in the hallway. We are making it a man door, so it's just gonna, you know, swing out into the space, into the hallway, which is completely okay. And then we can frame that wall in, and then we're also gonna frame a niche in that shower wall. And I'm not gonna tell you too many details about it because we can showcase it in a later video, but it's gonna look super sweet. Please trust me on that, it's gonna look awesome. Another thing that the client came to us with and was like, okay, what about insulating interior walls? Now, could you insulate all interior walls and create a really sound and nicely finished home? Yes, but that could be expensive. So we decided to only do the walls that were really required. So if you look over here, you know, we pretty much just wanted to outline and create a sound barrier on the edges of these bathrooms. So right here and right here is all going to be insulated. We're not really worried about this back wall here because it is just going into a linen closet, which is then just going into a hallway. So we're not really too worried about sound transfer in that way. You can see that there is a bedroom right here, which would be behind this TV. So we are going to insulate this whole wall. As you can't insulate where that pocket door is, it's just going to be a spot, but we will insulate this whole wall, as well as insulate this wall between the office and the bedroom, so that you can be in the office and not interfere or distract anybody that's in that bedroom right there. And also having the insulation behind this TV is going to dampen the sound that's traveling into the bedroom. And that was really important because these are kids' bedrooms, and we wanted to make sure that the clients and homeowners could, you know, relax and watch a movie at the end of the day while their kids are sleeping, if that's how the situation is. Other areas that we wanted to make a little bit more soundproof is around this half bath right here. You can see that it kind of shares a wall with the kitchen, even though it is around the corner and the side entry over here from the garage. So I like how that this bathroom doesn't necessarily open up into the kitchen. I love that, but we do want to have some insulation right here, as well as right here, and a little bit into this area right here. But then again, we're not really worried about the sound transfer going into the stairwell or the pantry. So as long as we hit those main walls, we should be good to go in soundproofing the bathroom from like the home, if you will. Another area we are soundproofing is this back wall here, just kind of separating this whole shower and bathroom area. So we'll be insulating this wall right here, and then also this wall right here as much as we can. Of course, we can't really do the pocket door, but at least this creates a nice sound barrier from this bathroom to the primary bedroom right here, as well as this bathroom to the hallway. So that has been talked about, and we will be going through with that. But this was just a good way that we could get sound insulation within the home. Rather than insulating the whole home, we took a really detailed view of what we needed to have sound insulation in and what walls minimum were required to have sound insulation in it to do what we wanted to achieve. And this is perfect. Another area that we are looking into right now is the garage area. We actually had to change our insulation detail here. So we originally had it that it went along the bottom cord of the trusses up until the knee wall, because they're attic trusses. So attic trusses kind of look like this, and it has your knee wall, and then it carries the gable up, right? And you have a little bit of dead space right there, dead space in that corner, but then this allows room to have for storage above your attic. So originally we had the insulation come along the sides here, go up the gable, and then back down again, kind of creating like a little bit of like a clear story detail right there. But what we decided to do instead is move it over. Instead, we have the bottom cord come up. Here's your truss, bottom cord, and then there's your decking. So we're actually just going to carry that insulation all the way to here, spray foam underneath the deck, and then continue that insulation here. So what that does is, instead of the insulation changing from here over the garage, and of course it being on the flat, pretty much at the top plate, all the ceiling insulation above the residence, we changed it to this detail. So now you have that ceiling insulation covering the whole area above the top plate. And what that does is it allows this whole roof to become a cold roof and not necessarily make this a little bit of a hot roof and like a conditioned space almost. So that was a detail that we just had to look over, and we were like, okay, what are our options? And we came up with this one. And then in that way, we don't have to build a wall above the attic trusses here. We don't have to reframe a wall over here above the attic trusses. So that was just a better way of completing this insulation detail while also minimizing the amount of work we had to do to fit all that in. So that was a very easy thing. Talking a little bit more about mechanicals, we do have our water coming in right here, and then we're going to have our electric and our spectrum cable coming in right here. We'll have gas coming in right here. These are all things that we've been planning very carefully, because we don't want utilities to be stacked on top of each other. We kind of want them to be away from each other, so that if anything ever happens, God forbid in the future, we can just easily dig up whatever required section we need to and replace anything we want. The only area that we might have a little bit of like some stacked utilities is when we take this gas line out backwards to the future barn. It will just come over this area. Sorry, that's gonna go this way. But that will just kind of be stacked on top of those utilities. But at the same time, if this is the only area that is happening, the homeowner at least knows, and we can know to be very careful around this area whenever something may occur, and if we ever had to redo any of the work that was right here. So yeah, like I said, we are getting into insulation right now. Following that will be drywall, and then we'll start getting into finishes and everything like that. So maybe a future video will be coming out. Maybe we can show a little bit of the insulation in there, or we'll just do it right after drywall and you can see the site progress, because I see it every day. You guys haven't seen it in a while, and it is coming along beautifully. We have a beautiful roof on top of the structure right now. It is a combination of asphalt, shingles, and metal. That came out beautiful. I'll have Sean show some pictures of that in this video, maybe. And then yeah, I'm just really looking forward to give you guys another site tour. Can't wait. Be on the lookout, and I'll talk to you guys soon.